Hello everybody from New York City. You're again back in my studio, and I would like to share today the first page of Debussy's Children's Corner, Gradus at Parnassum. And that's again a piece, especially the first page, that people bring into lessons again and again. So what's the reason? And I always start by saying, first, there has to be rotation. I call it the first day of creation, you know. First, there has to be a setup. And then other things are added. Now, just to be clear, in our teaching, if somebody comes and we see that some elements are there naturally, we don't say anything. And we bring it in if it is missing. But one thing that we have to do with everybody is connect them to themselves. That's the first thing. If the fingers, hand, and form don't move together, there's nothing to talk about. And people ask me sometimes, well, you know, when people come to you, do you always start with rotation? And I would say, no, there's some people who come, or pretty good pianists, and they're preparing for something, and they say, can you help me with some passages? And of course, I will do that. And most of the time, it works very well. But unfortunately, so many people come with serious situations, with a lot of pain and disability, and some of them had to stop playing. We get them already when things are really, really bad. And we have to start by setting up some ground rules and some things that, first of all, to get rid of the pain. And when we get them connected, and the connection also includes a freedom of motion. That's why we don't use the word relaxation, because relaxation relaxes everything. And when we move, anything that we do in life, there's a movement, there are muscles that are activated. When we move correctly, the right muscles are being activated, so the pain begins to subside and it goes away. Or the tension, or whatever it is. There's so many symptoms that people come with, but they often have the same basic sources, plus some differences. So in the children's corner, first of all, you see when I start, my body already moves a little bit to the left, so my aligned parts can be, you know, where they need to be. If I'm here, just middle C, and go like that, it's very awkward, and I'm a little bit twisted. So the body always has to move, and of course the upper arm follows. So again, this is assuming the rotation is there, the single and double rotation. So again, when you see something, you know, a piece or some lines written just in the white key area, it should be a red light in the brain that says in and out. Why? Because the moment the thumb is here, the other fingers, if they are just stay in the natural shape, going to be in the black key area. So the first thing that the person will do is pull them out. And if you pull them out, that's, I call it the beginning of the end. You're already in a lot of tension, you know, the curling. Or they'll twist, which is another very, very dangerous habit. So we have to deal with the in and out. So I'm assuming someone has already the rotation, things are moving sideways. The rotation is a sideways motion together with the walking hand and arm, together with the lateral motion. It brings the lateral motion this way with it in minimal amounts. But again, in order not to curl or to twist, we already move out. This is the second day of creation. You know, when rotation and in and out merge. So the second part of the rotation, we come out, and then we come just a little bit more, and the fourth finger being shorter is what we call a back motion. Just feels like it's toward us. We don't want to come out so much, because then the thumb, let me do it from above, the thumb then is completely off the keyboard. So we don't want to be here, and then there will be a big motion back. So it's going to be a little bit out, and of course we have the rotation to bring us, and the arm moves a little bit in, and a little bit out, right there, brings time, you know, that the second and third note move a little bit out, just a little bit, so the thumb can come back with a small motion. Again, same, out, out. So you see, when we show those arrows, the arrow toward the bodies, the out and the arrow going up, you know, toward the piano, is the in. It doesn't tell you how much. And that's, again, the job of the teacher, who's well trained in this work, to show how much. As you see, there's very little. And again, so if you didn't know anything, you just see a look. I'm just moving over from note to note. But what I did want to show is also the shaping, because that's what minimizes everything. So you get a little bit of a taste of that. So we are very much trained. Every time it goes up, it's an undershape. Every time it comes back, it's an overshape. Outside of the fact, a lot of it is done from here. And it's kind of very general. In this work, it's very, very specific. Some shapes work and some shapes don't work. Now, why is it marked like an over arc and not an under? Because if I do an under, again, I'll go back and forth. If I do an under shape, look where the thumb is. It's very far away to go back. It's very awkward. But if I do an over shape, it brings me right back. Tell you what I was doing, you would not think anything of it. So she just looks like she's just playing, you know. But what happens, you see the amount of the out is very small, and together with the shaping helps. Again, it's the third day of creation, or the fourth day, because there's also the walking hand in arm. But you know, the way that it is done, that it brings everything becomes very small when we combine it, and what we actually see very often are those round movements. So again, this is an overshape, brings me right back, instead of this taking me so far away from the thumb. So we have situation, you know, where it's a little bit of an under and an over, and it brings the arm to the right place. This will be more like an underwave to an overwave. This would be very awkward if I did it as an overwave. But what happens very often, if we go to the top note, and it has a distance, distance down, if we we do shift, but shift very small, it keeps us very close to that thumb, rather than take us away from it. So this is an overshape to the thumb. Very often shapes go thumb to thumb, overshapes, but not always. Overshape from the thumb to the thumb together with the in and out. You can go to the third finger here or to the fourth finger. Comes back, overshape. The thumb. Again, if I do this, and that's what people usually do, that seems to be the go-to, is always to do the under when we go up. Well, playing and technique is much more complex than that. Sometimes we do that, but there's so many types of passages, and then it feels like we're very far away, and if we move too much, we get tired in the upper arm. And that affects the playing. So I'm still going an overshape, but right here, it becomes more comfortable to do an undershape, because we're going right here. There's an under and an over. And if someone says to me why, I would say my first rule is that's what feels the most comfortable. My hands tell me. But there are also rules that can be very helpful. And as you see, coming from here, it's an overshape, but here it goes to the top note and it has another note going down. So if I do that, it feels like the arm is not in the right place. So when the top note is going directly to the thumb, very often it's an overshape. But if there is another note going down, the arm needs to get over to the fifth finger, to the four, becomes an undershape. But I would say that even there are exceptions. I always look for exception when it comes to shaping. So again, an overshape becomes an undershape when you have two notes coming down. The arm needs to feel that it's there. But, and you see the complexity, now when I keep going, if I did that, you see I'm going a larger distance to the C. There's a fifth there. It would feel like a big motion. So it goes back here to the overshape. Overshape. All overshapes. Because they get us to the right place. I know it's not that simple, and you will look at the handout that will be connected to it. And you can try it and you'll see what works better. But again, it always goes into what's the easiest, what's the most comfortable. Where do I don't get tired? And it feels like I'm right there at all times. Even though there's a great deal of motion going on, there's a feeling I'm always at the right place at the right time. Thank you all for watching, and I will look forward to next time.